All right, hello everyone, this is Mr. Crozier. I'm going to go over Chapter 2 review problems number 1. You're absolutely going to want to have your identity sheet to do these problems. You will not be able to remember all of these formulas, so make sure you have this. Problem number 1, we're going to simplify this. Well, right here, this first identity is right there, that 1 tangent squared is equal to secant squared. So I can use this identity, put secant squared there, going to leave cosine alone, and then I can also use the follow-up identity here that secant is a reciprocal of cosine, so I can just put the cosine squared down there, and now everything will divide away nicely to 1. Problem number 2, it's an equation that's set up as a times b is 0, so one of them has to be 0. Well, I solved this one for secant, took the reciprocal to get cosine, and you're going to want to draw a lot of these triangles on here. Don't try and do this work in your head. This is where cosine is root 3 over 2. That's a small angle, so it's pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. And tangent, where's tangent 1? Well, that's this perfect symmetrical shape right here, which starts at pi over 4 and adds on 90 each time. On number 3, these problems are difficult. The key to these problems is draw a nice circle, a nice unit circle with the angle in here. And here's the angle I'm looking for. I'm looking for this angle right here. And it's formed by that line right there. So what that is 3, 5 for sine, because sine is SOHCAHTOA. And sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. It's quadrant 2. Now, it could have been in quadrant 1 because that's also 3, 5. However, this tells you where it is. And now find the cosine of 2 theta. Well, there's all my double angle cosine formulas. I can use any one of those. You have these 3 choices right here. All 3 of these choices will lead you to this answer right here. I just picked the first one. I did cosine squared minus sine squared and got that. On the next one, again, here's my identity right here. Cosecant minus 1, if I subtract this 1 over here, now it's cotangent. And what is cotangent? Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. And what is cosecant? Well, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so these go down here. And then tangent now, if you remember tangent is sine over cosine. These divide out nicely, left with 1 over cosine, which is secant. Factor out here. Here's the number 1 identity you need to know. This is the most important one of them all. 1 minus cosine is equal to sine, so I can put a sine. That's also the reciprocal of sine. They divide out nicely to 1. On the bottom, first thing you do, are these on the unit circle? No and no. Since they're not on the unit circle, I'm going to use this formula because this is what it looks like. Cosine of an angle minus cosine of an angle. Cosine of 15 minus cosine of 15. I'm going to plug it and run it through there. -2, add them, divide by 2, subtract them, divide by 2, unit circle, do the computation. On the back, problem number 7, again, it's an identity. Whenever you see this pi over 2, that pi over 2, it's a cofunction identity. And right here, the sine of pi over 2 minus theta is just cosine. Cosine's 1/3. I really like this problem here because take a look at all those values. They are all on the unit circle. We don't need this formula sheet. We can write them down from the unit circle, do the math, and we're here. Number 9, solving an equation. Subtract these away, add this over, factor out a sine, and now we can have the zero product property. And make sure you're drawing these triangles. This is where sine 0, this is where sine's equal to -1/2. There's some answers. Number 10, cosine. Again, what is cosine? So SOHCAHTOA, the adjacent is root 5, the hypotenuse is 3. Solve this, you have 2. But again, it could have been this triangle down here with a -2. However, sine is positive, so it's only this one. Tangent of pi over 2 either formula. I use this one because the denominator is easier, but it doesn't matter. And we get 3 minus root 5 over 2. Trig identities, right here. This should ring a bell. Cosine of negative x is just cosine. Cosine of negative x here is just the negative sign comes out, so it's just sine of x. All right, what do we have here? Well, I put this over. This is a tough equation to solve. Make a mental note of this one right here. It pops up all the time here. What do you do when you just have cosine and sine? Well, if they were squared, I would be using this one, but they're not squared. So I subtract this over, divide by cosine, and we just have negative 1 left. Sine over cosine's tangent, and now I can solve tangent. And the last one, well, if I put this over here, now again, I can take this out. I can take out a sine squared. And again, there's your number one identity. Sine squared would be 1 minus cosine. So it's minus all of this, minus a 1, plus a cosine. I flipped the order here, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it back right now. The order here would be minus 1 plus cosine squared beta. Well, if I put those together, that's 4. Put the 1 over, divide by 4, take the square root, and plus or minus 2, those are your answers. All right, I hope this helps. We'll keep doing it, practicing for the test.